Hello, Christopher. I do believe we are live. Everything looks to be working okay. Don't watch YouTube like you always do. I think we're live. How's it going, man?
I trust you.
I wouldn't do that. That's insane. That's a ridiculous statement to make. I haven't done this for 2 weeks. I am out of practice.
I know we barely made it, guys. Welcome to the welcome to the show, guys. I don't even know what episode it is. I'm totally
79,
lost.
baby. Woo!
I thought we were coming up on 80.
It's been a slow climb to 80.
Yeah, well, sorry for the delay in episodes, guys. As we've been telling you, if you have or have not been paying attention to the community posts that we've been doing, Ryan was off getting all toasted. He's now
Oh, you can
back
tell.
He's back to his normal pasty self, so he's looking good. And then he was sick. He's still sick, I guess, kind of, sort of.
It's all my nose now. But last week I was still coughing and stuff. It just wouldn't have been a great episode, so I had to bail.
You apologized in the front of your propagation review for
sounding
sick. But before you did that, I was like, damn. I'm like, Ryan's voice is sounding like all like low and sexy. He's sounding sick today.
No, getting those words out was hard. If I put any more, like, exactly, if I was like excited a little bit, I just started to like hack. So I had to like keep it really tame just to kind of get the review out. So
because your reviews are normally so filled with excitement.
I know.
You like the game? It sounds like he hates it. He says he likes it.
I'm working on it. Shut up, Chris.
If you guys can't tell, I love this game. It's so excited to me. Anyways, I don't know what I was gonna say to guys. Again, welcome to the show. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more. Although I would imagine most of you guys watching have subscribed. I don't really know if there's a lot of housekeeping to take care of, other than we guys have a Patreon, guys. So if you want to help the channel out more, it's super cheap and it helps us out. Pretty much just gives us a little bit of extra to put into the channel. And speaking of extra, we are going to be giving away a whack of codes today. We just looking at our stores of codes, and we need to clean out our code closet. So stick around. We will be dropping those throughout the entire chat. Not in chat though. We will be putting those up on the screen. We learned our lesson that time.
We had to set that up too.
Yeah. Yay me. What up, y'all? Yeah, I guess that would be you. Decepticon, Savage Gamer, thanks for joining us. You guys are the early birds. Let's just jump into it. First off, I guess we wanted to talk about one game that we didn't get to this week. If you guys haven't seen it already, we have 2 reviews up that both dropped today. Thursday's just Thirsty Thursday, I guess. It's the day of games and the show, which is maybe not great timing, but there's a propagation review up there that Ryan did, and I put up Survival Nation. And I guess it was Propagation Paradise Hotel, which is, you go watch the review, guys. But I mean, talk about leveling up. We won't get into the game too much because Ryan did a really good job of kind of laying everything out for you. But talk about leveling up, because it was the original Propagation was like a free to play, like horde mode on PC. I believe it was only PC. And it was pretty much like a poor man's Brookhaven experiment. Like, it was nothing special about it other than it looked all right. And they've really leveled that game up. So go check that out, because it's a full-blown survival horror game now. So good for them. And I guess survival horror in its truest sense would be Survival Nation. Go watch my review for that if you haven't already. Shug, he says I'm quiet. Can you turn me up, Ryan?
I'm going to turn you down even more, actually. You shouldn't be quiet, actually. Is your mic that I can turn you up a little bit, but you should be all right.
You can turn me up too.
Like, you do on your end.
Guys, just let us know if you need more volume. It's you're our best way to kind of judge what's going on there. Good evening, Thomas. Good evening, Salvador, you sexy bitch. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Survival Nation. Go check out my review for that, guys. It's an interesting game. I won't get into it. I like I said, I got a 14-minute review up on there, but it's one of those games where the whole time I was playing, I was like, well, I can't stop playing this, and I don't know why. So go watch that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But the other game, more cowbell. Yes, you're right. There's way not enough cowbell.
I got a fever.
I got a fever. Rogue Ascent is the game that we didn't get to this week. We we have lives and we didn't have a chance to get into it. Now, if you haven't checked it out, I think Ryan has a trailer of
Oh,
that
I've got game
game.
footage, baby. I've got game footage. So we can watch me play through this thing while we talk about this.
Yeah, and don't forget to see that code for Gwr.
That's just the space. Listen, I'm trying to get my space down here, so shut up, Chris.
Anyways,
I forgot
Rogue
to set-
Ascent, guys. Ryan and I both tried it. It is a roguelite shooter, but it's all hand tracked, and so it's all teleportation. I think I liked it more than Ryan.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Wow. Okay, so we've hit
Look,
the ground on a positive
It's
note.
not stupid. It's a self-described roguelite shooter, whatever the hell it is. And to break it down, basically, I don't even know what the mission is, but you're like going through a spaceship. You have to go level by level, and like each level has like its own little like mini mission, like turn on a computer or like access these files or destroy this thing, whatever. It's pretty quick and simple. It's totally on the rails, or it's like node based. The gunplay works fine. Everything in here is perfectly fine for what it is, except for the fact it's all hand tracking. And playing this game, and the whole time I was playing, I was like, does hand tracking benefit this game? And in my personal opinion, in no way does it benefit the game in any shape or form. I wish for a controller the whole time, instead of having to do this hand thing to move, and then my fists to block, and then like it just seemed unnecessary, and to me it hurt the experience, and it was already a fairly mediocre game.
Yeah, I mean, okay, first and foremost, if you gave it controllers, it just wouldn't work. I mean, you know what I mean? Like the game itself, in the very beginning, I was like, oh, I wonder if there's an option for controllers. I'd like to have the option for controllers. But the game's it's not even a little designed about that. It's almost kind of like, it even plays with the ideas in the beginning that you're kind of like on a holodeck. And I would say that for the early parts of the game, the hand tracking is what is cool about it. Like, I mean, what I mean is that, but it's like, it is the ultimate in gimmicky. Like, I kept asking myself the same thing. Would this be better with controllers? And I mean, a game like this, yes. I mean, the game that immediately comes to mind is like Compound, which was on PC and Quest, and I loved Compound. It was definitely kind of a retro, I hate the term, but boomer shooter type of take on it, where you were taking an elevator up floor after floor after floor, kind of clearing out floors. This has a little bit more to it, as far as like there's just more kiosks for upgrading things as you go. There's more things throughout the level that you kind of have to do. But it's almost that make work, because the levels themselves are actually quite small, because like you said, you kind of just teleport through nodes. I did kind of like the hand tracking, as far as like it was creative in the way it was using hand tracking. Like, I like the fact, I mean, if you really got into it kind of, and you were like, okay, to the node, and then like, you wanted to pull up guns, so you had to make like gun shapes. But then if you wanted to reload, you put them up in the air, and then they kind of spun and they felt reload. And if you wanted to like look at like your watch, you kind of brought it up, and then you could like scan the environment like this and that. I mean, it was all kind of neat, but gimmicky. And I don't like using the term gimmicky in VR, just because it's such a lot of people like to look at VR as a gimmick. But this felt like gimmicky VR. Like, it was neat hand tracking, but it wasn't compelling. I was done with it pretty quickly. It was, it's kind of, I will say, it's not a visually super appealing game, although interesting enough, you can go into the options and actually turn up the resolution at the expense of, I guess, some frame rate possible drops. And it looked a little bit better when I did that. It's not it's very, very 80s synth, which again, I guess is kind of a win on my part, but it looks like an App Lab game. The entire time I was playing it, I'm like, this still feels like an App Lab game, and it's a kind of a neat game to have on the system, like to throw some people in just to show them something neat. Like, look at what my VR toy can do.
No, to me,
but it wasn't. It's not a compelling game, and I love roguelites.
Yeah, see, and like I said, when I was playing it, I just ended up just trying to kill myself. After playing for like 45 minutes, I was just kind of done with it. I wanted to see what happened, and honestly, I had this like healing bot with me. And so I just sat there in a corner getting lit up by this fire trap and getting shot at by all these guys. I swear to God, it took 3 minutes for me to die. And that was me just like health regenerating. I couldn't, like, it was just pointless. And like I said, the hand track me, it didn't feel like it did anything good. Like, I talk about a game Silhouette. I've played enough hand track games now where, if you're just using it for the sake of the tech, of the tech or the lack of tech, whatever you want to call it, it just doesn't work. In my personal opinion, and to me, I think half the reason why this is node based is because that's what you can't. That's the only way you can travel is by putting your hand out. And if they got rid of hand tracking and I could just freely roam around this place, that would make it better. So
yeah, but the games, the levels are quite small. I mean, they literally are. They're usually
yeah, because it's a hand track game, they can't make big levels because
that's what I'm saying. But this is what I'm saying. Like you couldn't just give someone a controller and say the game was better. Like the game definitely was built from the ground up to be hand tracked. It's just like I said. You and I talked about the idea of like, when you want to talk about immersion, like not having to have controllers and be able to just like hand gesture everything is really cool. Like in the fact that like little kid Chris never believed that we would be like playing a game like this. It's insane. But at the same time, like, and so I do appreciate that. But as if I have to sit down there and just dissect the game, whether I thought it was a great game and whether I thought the roguelite hook kind of really got its hooks into me, I didn't feel like the game was working on that level, because having to go like this to make a gun, it just gets old after a while. Like you and I were saying, this is not more immersive than actually holding a controller that kind of feels like a gun. It just isn't. But I appreciate that they took this on. Like I still think it does have some really cool ideas in the way that they were implementing hand tracking, and I will say, like, it works pretty well. It's pretty polished, and it could have been a disaster.
I agree.
It could have been a disaster.
Did you find yourself hopping from like one space to another, like moving
sometimes
two spaces?
Yeah,
and I know they're and I guess
don't drop your hand quick enough; it'll zoom you to the next.
And now that even as I said, I remember there's options for like sensitivity to that, so you probably can dumb that down. So I guess I shouldn't bitch about it. Default, it definitely happened.
Quite a few settings actually in there if you wanted to go in there. It's like I said, this is much more my type of game, and Tantrum just brought up the fact that it kind of looks like an old school dungeon crawler. I like old school dungeon crawlers. I like retro shooters, and I like roguelites. So this game is going to appeal to me way more. It's just really just comes down to the fact of I'm not a big fan of teleportation in VR games anymore, and I just like. But for example, and then we can move on from this, but because this is how you bring up your guns, right? You go like this and they reload. You don't actually like pull the trigger on anything. You just kind of aim them and they
auto fires.
And so it loses a bit of kind of visceralness because everything's auto aiming, auto shooting. And yeah, it just to me never all came together. I definitely didn't hate it like Ryan did.
I didn't hate it. I just, like I said, it's a mediocre game made worse by hand tracking, in my opinion.
And I feel hand tracking was kind of like what it had going for it. Unless it was completely redesigned, to have bigger levels and more action and stuff, because it's really designed around the hand tracking and the unique options that brings and limitations.
Yeah.
So.
Totally.
Anyway, like I said, I still think if you've got some cash kicking around and you want something different, like it is unique in VR. Like, again, it's not necessarily my thing, but if you're someone who's like really into like just cool, funky XR shit and just like trying new ideas, and you're like really like like the blending of AR into gaming and everything, I could see someone just really digging some of the ideas and what they're trying here. I just don't think I would go into it as wanting to like get into a good game. So
no.
Yeah. Anyways,
it's gonna be May. That's
speaking of yes. May the force be with you.
I didn't say it.
But you wanted to say it. I was actually thinking about the fact that we should have probably done a Star Wars themed.
We already did that
game,
episode,
which is why I didn't bring it up. Yeah, exactly.
Shut up, Chris.
Tantrum and anyone else who cares, if you love retro shooters like I do and you want to play one in VR, Medieval was a game that I was actually going to cover on the channel, but we were delayed in getting codes because someone had to go on holidays, and and that kind of messed things up, and so we didn't cover it. But A Medieval came out on PC and Quest, and it's awesome. Now, when I say PC, Steam VR, and I want to talk about that before we move on here. But A Medieval's kind of it's a modern retro shooter, kind of in the style of Hexen, and it's supposed to be pretty awesome. I haven't played it, but I think it's like Blood Studios or whatever, the company that it's Blood something. Anyways, they are putting out a bunch of 3D Realms style boomer shooters these days, and it's awesome. So if it does well, they said they're going to do some of their other games. If you've been paying attention to any of the stuff that they do. So anyways, what I wanted to complain about, Ryan, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but it is the case with A Medieval, Propagation Paradise Hotel, and Survival Nation. All three of those games have all come out on Quest and Steam, but not on the Rift store. Not they're not cross-buy, they're not cross-play, however you want to say that, but they're also not even available. And that is a trend that I really don't like to see. And I'm concerned that it might be meta going, yeah, like we'd rather you just release the Quest version because there's a PC version. It's on the Steam store.
I just don't know why Meta would, I don't know why, because we think Meta would still want them in that store regardless. I mean, if you have a PC headset, then make it cross. But why wouldn't they? What's the point? Because even if it's cross-buy, they still get the Quest version and they get the PC version, and they're staying in the Quest or the Oculus infrastructure as opposed to going to Steam.
But they're not.
I understand they're not. I don't know, but I just don't know. I don't know if it's if Meta's the reason behind it. I can't think of why Meta would do that.
I can't think of a good reason why, if I'm Game Studio X and I've got the PC version and you can buy it on Steam VR, why would you not try to get it in the most storefronts possible, especially unless these developers are like don't want to do the crossplay thing?
I mean, there could be
they'd rather try to maybe they feel people will double dip. I mean, although I think some people will just not buy the meta version because they'll just go if they have the PC. You know what I mean? Like if you're a PC guy and you got PC dollars to spend, and you might have bought the Rift version, but it's not there, you just go buy the Steam VR version. Like, I mean, you're right. Like, I feel like Meta loses out in that situation. So the only thing I can possibly think of is that a developer doesn't want to do the double dip, or not the double dip rather, but the cross buy. I can't. It's very frustrating to me.
I mean, that makes more sense. The idea that cross buy would, I guess, maybe potentially hurt sales, I suppose. But to me, it's more of a good faith gesture because I don't think double dipping is like. I don't think very few people are going to be like, I'm going to buy the Quest version and the Steam version. That's not really the way that works. It could just be, like, I don't know. That's a tough one. It is kind of weird. It's happening more consistently. That does suck. But I don't know why. I can't think of honestly a good reason why that would be. Especially considering just kind of how popular it was. Maybe it's just a fluke. Maybe it's just a weird coincidence that the last few games haven't had that.
I know, and Space Tennyson says a lot of games have been cross-buy, and they have been. But I'm just saying, but recently, like 3 games, like all in the last like month, is very frustrating. That it's a weird thing. I'm keeping my eye on it.
Yeah,
now.
for sure. Because
it's just like I'm like, and there's been multiple times where I'm like, okay, it's on Steam VR, I see it. Like Propagation, like obviously you reviewed it. I got a Quest code. I was like, well, maybe I'll play the Rift version. I want to see it. I'm like, what? No Rift version? What? Really? Looked it up in the store. Yeah, no, like it doesn't exist in the Rift store. And I'm like, but there's a PC version.
I mean, I guess the only other thing I think would be honestly would just be, I guess, Meta killing like the idea of PC gaming and just focusing solely on the Quest stuff. It still seems kind of ass backwards to me, because you're still in that headset and the ecosystem. But I mean, Meta also makes insane decisions that don't make any sense many times. So this could be another one where they're just like straight up just saying like fuck you PC gamers, or I shouldn't have swore, but like screw you guys, like it's Quest or nothing, especially with the Quest 3 looming.
They've definitely made some power moves. We've seen it over the years pushing Quest. We know that. I mean, the one that immediately jumps to me would be like the Climb 2. We know there was a PC version.
Yeah, they said like the trailer was like footage captured on a PC. Hold on a second.
And then they're just like, no, screw you, Quest only. It's like, screw you. Like you guys are dicks. Like that's a dick move, and especially in a game that benefits from being visual. So
I wasn't expecting to bash meta this episode, but here we are.
Savage Gamer brought up a good point, guys. If you redeem one of the codes, because we're going to be dropping codes throughout the entire show here, just if you could let us know in chat, so that Ryan can maybe even take note. So if just no one redeems it, or for some chance the code doesn't work, because some of these could be expired, that we can make those changes to our master list. So it makes life easier for us to continue to drop codes too if it's never picked up. So if we don't hear anything from you in chat, we will assume that it has not been redeemed. I think possibly.
Yeah, tough to say, but
that's a tough one.
Especially with it now floating in the ether. Like it's in this video. So
I would appreciate it if you got. Yeah, that's a good point. But we would appreciate it if you guys would keep us updated in chat there. Moving on to the topic at hand, Ryan. May.
It's a crazy, insane month.
Wow. Okay. So May. This is what happens when Ryan doesn't get to talk to people for a couple weeks.
It's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
True. May booming month. Yes, mainly for Quest, but there's also some PSVR 2 action. We're definitely starting to see the PSVR 2 releases start to be announced now. Moving into mid to late May and into June. Like we're starting to see some announcements here. So people who have PSVR 2 headsets that are crying that there aren't games, or there aren't games that are graphically what they wanted. There's some things coming, so that's good.
Like I said, we just talked about our 3 games. You can find our reviews for Propagation.
Yeah, 3 games in 1 week.
3 for Propagation. We just talked about Rogue Ascent and Survival Nation.
Yes, sir.
Those all came out today. And yeah, May is a busy month. I have the list here. I'll switch the video here, but it's basically going in some release date order. One of them was actually another one that came out today that I have no intention of ever touching. Is Card Detailing Simulator. Like it's just something like there are more complete lists of games coming. Like Mateo put a good list with a bunch of free stuff coming on Steam. I didn't include any free stuff in this list just because try it, play it. If you hate it, whatever. Like Swordsman VR got their ranged combat update today. So now they have bow and arrows and stuff like that in there. I haven't checked it out. They typically do pretty good work as far as that game goes. So I imagine that's just more layers to that game. I just honestly, for myself, Swordsman, it's just hard to return to, I guess, as much as they keep adding more and more stuff to it. In a way, it's almost they're kind of like catching up to Blade and Sorcery is a bit unfair, but not unwarranted in regards to what they're adding to the game. It's good. I mean, these are all free updates. The game's only getting bigger and better every time these guys release something in their game in Swordsman. So good on them. But I tried to stay away from like updates and everything else like that as far as this month's games go. But I had to laugh when I saw Card Detailing Simulator in the store. I was just like, who is this for?
They have their fans, these types of games. But I guess when I see stuff like this, it does start to get into the category of like, you need a job, man. Like if you,
right? I thought the exact same thing.
Like that's like what you like. No one likes to detail unless it's like their own beautiful vehicle. Then maybe there's some satisfaction out of it. But like, serious, like, what did you do tonight? Yeah, man, I picked a bunch of pubes out of the back seat of a car in VR. Like, I just don't get it. I mean, I know that there's people out there, like, if you go into Twitch and you look up some of these simulator games, like Farming Simulator, it is hilarious. There are guys, it's especially best in the afternoon. You get guys that are there. They're usually fat white dudes They got like big guts on them, and they're just sitting there with their their thrustmaster wheel, and they're just farming all day, all day. It's like, you need a job, sir. Like, I'm not judging. Some of them might have disabilities, and that's just like,
Oh, I'm not judging. They might be disabled. My God, are you trying to get this canceled? You're going hard here.
Well, what I'm saying is they're not just like some like loser sitting in their mom's basement
They're
unemployed.
just disabled.
You know what I mean? What I mean is, you know what I mean? Like, maybe they're on Aish and they're you know, and they're homebound, and so something like this, and this is their game that's like super relaxing or something. They can feel like they've like, you know, accomplished like some kind of achievements throughout the day or whatever. I just don't understand the appeal.
Oh, I agree. I mean, the second there's simulator in the title, honestly, my brain is like 99% checked out. You know, the fact it's car cleaning simulator is, to me, ridiculous. And I guess I would like to meet the one guy who like details cars for a living that goes home and plays this game, because that guy's a psychopath.
Well, I can tell you, I'm an electrician, and there is it was an electrician simulator that came out, and we were all laughing at work about it. I'm like, who would want to do that? Like, who on earth? I mean, no one who does that would want to do it. I mean, it's like, you know, like,
to learn. Like, is there like a learning aspect to this? Like, I don't know how to buff and wax a car. Now I know how. Thank you, game, not YouTube video. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. You got Savage Gamer there saying he actually wants Power Wash Sim on PS too.
Oh, because those car guys, those weirdos. That's right. I forgot about you weird car junkies that just sit there and just cream yourselves over, like, you know, the rims on something. Yeah, right, you weirdos.
I still feel like someone who, I don't know, is like Savage. I don't know what to tell you, man. There's something wrong with you. There's the idea of just sitting there and wanting to power wash a car in VR, and it's like, I'm sure these games, I'm sure,
dude's buffing the side of a car right now. Like, oh yeah, it's game time, baby. So if you like this game, I apologize for both of us, but also seek help. I don't know. It's just so not my jam. I don't want to like I'm sure it works fine. It looks, you know, the trailer you're seeing now is for the flat version of the game. I couldn't find a VR trailer in time, but I just, honestly, for myself, this is not why I play games. So if this is your jam, great, awesome. But
I'm laughing because I flipped quickly to the YouTube screen, and for some reason I had subtitles on, and I see the subtitle of, you know, some guy gonna cream himself over the car.
That sounds about right.
Oh
yeah,
man.
So no, like I said, I'm surprised we talked about this as long as we had. I expect to bring it up and move on, but here we are.
It's just so silly to me. I mean, these simulator games have their appeal. Like, Veterinarian Simulator was a game that was in the last Steam Fest, and I tried that game. And the most interesting part of that game was that there's like a dog walking around the waiting room, and there was like a little vending machine that you could like push a button or you turned a button and it dropped a treat, and it would continue to drop a treat. And it says, there's this big sign, "Don't forget to turn off the machine." And I was like, oh, okay. I like, whatever. I just disregarded it. I was like, I turned it. You gave me one cookie. What's your deal? And so I leave, trying to figure out the rest of the game. Totally broken game. I come back around into the waiting room area, and there's the dog just eating this pile of fucking cookies. Oh man. Anyways, what's our next game? I'll get to bring it up here.
Next game is sorry, I'm bouncing between lists here. So our next game,
Walkabout Mini Golf, is coming out for PSVR 2.
Requisition. Oh, that was another one that got released today. As I just wanted to quickly bring up that it got the full release today. So it's out of early access. We both played it. Did you play it actually? Now that I'm talking about it,
I did. Yeah.
I thought I played it. I mean, this is now, I guess we're talking 4 or 5 months ago. Or in May. This is like 6 months ago now when I played Requisition. I enjoyed it for what it was. I played the early access, obviously. 4 players surviving in a mansion. Or I guess a few different areas, and you can basically kind of strap together weapons and like make insane, stupid. But we do actually, know that we've talked this before in the podcast, but you can basically, like, you know, put a hair dryer on a fan with a knife. You just keep adding and duct taping stuff together to make these crazy weapons. It was fun. I haven't gone back to it just because I kind of prefer like story and stuff in my games. But that being said, the full release came out today, and I know a lot of people do. A lot of the community really does actually like what this game's done. So now you know.
Don't know how much it's changed since I played it, because my problems with it were some of the fundamental mechanics, the attaching of things, and just like how crazy you could get with weird shit was not the problem. Actually, that worked pretty well. The way you could kind of duct tape and attach things. I'm trying to remember the game. The game series. It's a flat game series that it reminds me of. Dead Rising.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about, where you could create games or create weapons and everything. It never gets as nuts as that. It's not like you're running around with like a snowblower that's going to chew up guys and stuff. But you could get crazy ass, like take a machete and put it on the end of a broom, so you got this crazy reach. My problem with the game was that the physics are shit. It's got the same problem that Survival Nation has. It's just Wagglefest physics. So even though you've got this crazy long reach, like it just felt like you were just kind of like nothing in your hands. And to me, that just, I don't know. It's just a fine line. I mean, I've been playing Retribution, Saints and Sinners, on my own time now, just slowly. And there's times in that game where I'm like, like as much as I like the weighted physics of the weapons and the guns, sometimes I feel like they kind of overdo it a little bit. Like sometimes it just feels sluggish. But I also don't want the waggle fest of like Survival Nation, where you're just like literally have a paddle board and you're just like, I mean, the way to get around that is to try to add some kind of a stamina system to it. But that was my problem with Requisition, is that the combat just didn't land. And when it's a game about melee combat for the most part.
Yeah. Like I said, I think it has its appeal in regard to what it can do, but you're not wrong. I don't know. Like I said, I can't. I don't want to say too much about what I played 6 months ago, just because maybe it has changed. But regardless, it's out now. Check it out, people.
So Salvador, thank you very much, man. We love you. If you and you guys in chat, if you haven't noticed, Salvador, every week that we're in here, he is here giving super chats. He's one of our Patreons as well. Like, I'm not trying to make people.
He's keeping this channel alive. He's keeping this channel alive.
I just really wanted to shout out, a special shout out to Salvador, because his support for this channel and just the community in general is amazing, and it really it's mind blowing. It really is, man. We really appreciate it. Speaking of PSVR2 backlog, which is what he was talking about, this is kind of a total side comment. But guys, I've just been addicted and crushing Townsman on the PSVR2. I finally dove into that because I kind of just love those kind of God games. And I wish I'd done a full review on the game. I know I talked in a couple of videos ago about maybe doing a build video. Don't know if that's going to happen. But I just wanted to shout that game out again, because once I started getting into it, I just crushed it. I think it's like the campaign's about 12 hours long. I still feel like it was a little hand-holdy throughout. It's not a perfect game. But the fact that I could just sit there and it's a very chill VR game, and there's nothing like it in the PSVR 2 or PSVR 1 library for that matter. With the exception of maybe Tethered. But anyways, when I saw backlog, I just wanted to acknowledge that game because it's awesome. Alex VR, dude, what is going on? Thank you for joining us.
Alex?
And Chris Bayer, thank God for sensible VR conversations. Woohoo! We're sensible, Ryan.
That makes one of us?
I told my wife I was. I told her. Anyways.
Speaking of PlayStation VR 2, Requisition.
I have nothing more to say about Requisition.
Moving on.
Hey, if any of you in chat have played Requisition in like today, I guess, the launch version, I'd be curious to know if it's changed much. My understanding is that they've added another map or two, but I don't think the fundamental gameplay has changed that much. But I guess it's just co-op zombie stuff. It's not that hard to find them. Let me put it this way, something topical. I've played Requisition. I would rather play Survival Nation. Survival Nation is like, yeah, you're not crafting unique weapons like that, but it's better in every other way, and it has just way more gameplay depth to it. Way more. Oh my god. And you can run around 4 players. And it's almost worth buying Survival Nation for watching a friend try to eat a piece of steak. Because I played with Jason. I don't know if you saw in the review there, I put the clip in there where I gave Jason this piece of cooked steak, and he just goes like this. I'm just watching him as it's just on his face, and then all of a sudden it's just gone. And I was just losing my mind laughing, and he's like, "What?" I'm like, "I wish you could see how you're eating this steak." Oh man. Anyways,
Walkabout, baby.
if you like tethered Space Denizen, Townsman's a no-brainer because it's tethered on like been better in absolutely every single way. Anyways,
Moving on, Chris. Moving
yes.
on. Our next big PSVR 2 release will be Walkabout, which everyone I think is pretty happy for, as Walkabout has been hailed as like one of the best, if not the best, golfing games you can get in VR. And now it's a putting. It's not like a full golf game. It's like a putt course, but the courses are insane. The base game for the base price and all the DLC you can get as well for additional costs. You've played this more than I have. I have played this and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Chris, Walkabout, PSVR 2, people should be happy.
Before I get onto that,
oh my god,
the Falk 55 said that I think you was talking about Survival Nation gave him State of Decay vibes. I know that Livinator, who I was playing with, actually mentioned that too. And I would say to that, if State of Decay had a autistic little brother, it would be Survival Nation.
We're going hard here.
And that you can put on the box art.
So this is the last episode of the Virtual Boys.
Hey, I didn't say retarded. I said autistic. Anyways, it's just being all serious. It's a very, very, very simple version of what State of Decay was doing. Like you don't build up your base area. Like there's nothing to build up. There's no, you're not bringing survivors back or anything. You've got some guys in the camp you talk to. They give you fetch quests. You go do that. You shoot things. You hit things. Go watch my review. I know you asked me if the gunplay was good. Go watch the review. It'll just give you way more information than I can today. Walkabout. I love Walkabout. Walkabout Mini Golf either on Quest or PC is one of my almost top 5 PC games of all VR games of all time. That might sound crazy because it looks like it was built in Rec Room, but that game is the physics. It's just a great game. I love being inside it. It feels like a little vacation. I love playing with friends in it. I love mini golf, and the courses are so inventive and they're so fun to play. The replay value is endless. I've played with my wife with 2 headsets, bouncing around the living room here playing mini golf courses. I've played with my friends' kids. I've played with Savage Gamer's little daughter, who lives across the other side of the country in Walkabout, and taught her basically how to kind of try to play mini golf. I mean, for that matter, I've taught Savage Gamer how to play because he barely knew how to play mini golf. Hey, Savage. But man, I love that game. I have, funny enough, back years ago in the VR chat show, and Alex, funny enough, I believe was the host of that show. We had the developer for Walkabout Mini Golf there, and this was before they even had like DLC, I think, or they had like 1 or 2 DLCs. So that shows you how long ago it was. And we asked him. I remember it was me and God Cannon. We like literally cornered this guy in the corner of a Rec Room map and was like, "So like PSVR, right? Like what's happening with PSVR? Like, have you seen the controller? Basically a golf club. Like, what are you doing?" And he straight up said to us, "Yeah, we have like." He's like, "Well, no, we have no plans." He's like, and we're like, they've sold like 6 or 7 million headsets, right? And he's like, "Really?" He's like, "I thought it was like a couple 100,000." And we're like, "What? Like, where's he getting his numbers from?" And maybe he was meaning like active player base, but still, we were blown away. We're like, this would do so well on PlayStation. We were so desperate for co-op shit like this. Anyways, here we are, 2023, May 11th, and Walkabout's coming out, and all the DLC is going to be available. And I believe you can buy a complete edition with all the current DLC. I would absolutely 100% say, guys, get that. If it's a pre-order and you can get that full complete edition, do it, because the DLC is awesome.
So I'm actually, one question I have, I just thought of this now. Is it cross-buy with Quest or Steam, or is it just PS4?
It is cross-buy on. Well, it's
cross-play. Sorry, cross-play.
I believe it's cross-play because Quest and PC are cross-play. It's just a room code. I'd be shocked if it wasn't. It's a room code. In fact, you can even get away if you have 2 quests or a quest and a rift, and they're on the same account, you can still jump into a room on the same account and co-op with the same copy of the game. In fact, the other fun fact is that if a buddy has the DLC and you don't, he can still invite you in to play the game. You can still play all the DLC with a friend who has DLC. You just don't get the collectible.
On the PlayStation VR store page right now. 8 unique 18 courses to master. Unlock night mode. Play solo 1v1 online quick match. Extremely accurate physics. Collect. It doesn't say anything about crossplay on the PlayStation Store.
I'll be stunned if it's not crossplay.
I would not be stunned, but
I would.
It would be. Would be disappointing nonetheless, I guess.
Unless Sony's putting up some kind of a wall, which I really can't see them doing anymore. I mean, like I said, it's got the code, the room code. That's usually the giveaway that it's crossplay, right? Like I think of After the Fall and Demio and such. They're all crossplay, right? Anyways, I'd be stunned if it's not. Guys,
stunned. He says
it's so good. It's so good. I am unbelievably excited for PSVR 2 people to be able to play Walkabout mini golf because it's so good.
Well, and even if you're a PSVR 1, I mean, how many golf games do we have on PSVR 1? We had 1. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, this is a genre that really, it deserves to be in VR.
It makes so much sense for VR too because it's like because they're small courses and it's kind of like room scale and it's just so good. It's so good, so fun. I know Ryan hasn't played as much as I have. I played the crap out of that game. I mean, basically, essentially the core game I think comes with like 5 courses, and they each have like they refer to as a day and night course.
8 courses.
8 now.
That's what I just read that to you. I just read it off the store page. 8.
I don't listen to you.
Clearly.
But what's they're almost underselling their game because the day night. Well, what at nighttime? You're not just playing at night. They're the hard modes of the courses, and the courses are like totally different. Like they're jacked right up. It's so good, so good,
so good,
so good. Anyways, guys, that is my PSVR 2 game of the month. I'm pumped for that. I'm buying it. Like I don't even think we're gonna get codes. And I'm buying that game because I have been dying to have another system in the house to play Walkabout on. That means I can get 3 people in the house here rocking around a golf course to each other. So
well, that might be your pick of the month, but my pick of the month, maybe.
It's totally gonna be detailing simulators.
Yeah, it is. So I said I just gave away a code for that for the quest. We have 2 codes here. I don't know where they came from for that game.
I told you we had codes for it.
I don't pay attention to you either.
It came from Meta.
Another Fisherman's Tale. I absolutely loved the first game. I gave the first game like an 8.5. It took me an hour and a half to get through. I looked it up in my review there, Chris, because you were saying it was longer than that. It was a very short game, and this one from Inner Space, the guys that gave us Mask Maker. This is obviously the follow-up, and I've played a bit of this. I can't talk about it too much, but basically, where the first game kind of messed with scale, the second game looks to play with your body. You can detach your arms and your head, cool. And you can control your body from like third person view. But it's weird. It works better than you think it would. They're definitely going for something more than the first game.
At least still playing with scale.
Yes.
Are they going for something?
No, they're definitely, but much more. I think they're. Even just based on the trailer, what I just saw there, they're definitely still using the scale, but they're definitely focusing a lot more on the puzzles at hand and kind of utilizing all these new mechanics. I love the first one. I love Inner Space. Like I said, Mask Maker is also my favorite puzzle games, and so I'm very, very pumped for this sequel to one of the best VR puzzlers ever made.
Yeah, it was a very classic game. It's just like it was a very special game. You could tell, like I remember saying in my review that it there you go, full crossplay, booyah for Walkabout. Thank you, Falcon. Fisherman's Tale and the second one looks to be the same thing. Looks like it was made with a lot of love and care. It looks like a passion project. You can tell that people, like the artists who made it, really cared about what they were putting out there. Like, for example, I just think of like Survival Nation, for example. The game has a generic look to it. Like I think about Gambit, like that just came out a little while ago. I've said this before, it feels like they raided like stock texture and stock like sound stores.
I'm sure every time you say that, some dev somewhere is just like, he said it again, this motherfucker.
I know. Oh, I'm sure. Like, I'm sure I'm gonna get like doxxed or something here. But, but funny enough, I'm just speaking of getting doxxed. It was Savage Gamer that actually brought up to me. So I've been trying out the new gunstock attachments, guys, for the PSVR 2, and there'll be a review coming out. That this is the virtual rifle system where you can actually just like grab it with your controllers. It's amazing. I won't show you guys this yet, but I'll show you the back. That's kind of the back grip. So you literally just grab it, and your finger just kind of slides in, and you can still grip it. It's amazing. There's no magnets, no clipping in and out. It's beautiful. But as you can see, like when you look at this, especially when you've got it like full on like this, you've got it strapped around like this. What was it? It was Savage Gamer said to me, he's like, you better watch it. He's like, because like if somebody decided to be a dick to you and you were streaming playing that and you're in the headset and somebody decided to call the cops on you just to try to get you swatted, and they charged into they like ended up coming up to your house and they see and you were like they think you had a gun on you. Although my answer to that, now that I think about it, Savage Gamer,
it's a ridiculous statement. Look out for this crazy snare that's never going to happen.
It would in the States, man.
Only celebrities
there are literally Twitch players and YouTube people that have had like SWAT members come into their house because someone has put in a fake threat about them.
We're not that big, buddy. We're not that big.
No, but I think his point was that like it does look like a gun, which is why I like it.
Yeah, no doubt.
But anyways.
Yeah. What about you? Fisherman's Tale. Yes. Another Fisherman's Tale.
I am not the puzzle guy that you are. You know that. Everyone here knows that probably if you watch the videos here. I am in love with the fact that I have Ryan now to work with on this channel because I don't have to do all the puzzle games now because I suck at them. I don't have the patience for them. But I will probably play another Fisherman's Tale because I did still really enjoy. There are memorable moments in that game that I think of. Like I think of like some of the stuff with the fish. And like being like going from like in its mouth and everything, like it was
because the puzzles don't feel like traditional puzzles, like they really are. I mean, like you're still using the environmental puzzles are just a different beast, and if they're done right, like in a Fisherman's Tale, they feel less like puzzles and more just like almost like an escape room, like you have the tools and you're trying to solve this problem. Yeah. It's not like a we'll talk our next game, or actually next two games are going to be just puzzles. But yeah, okay. Another Fisherman's Tale. Like I said, I'm
the opposite of Fisherman's Tale.
There we go.
Would be I'm going to jump a game here. Would be Firmament, which is coming out on PC VR only May 18th with a PSVR 2 version planned. There's no date on that yet. I don't know if we said Fisherman's Tale. Did we say the date? May 11th, so same day as Walkabout, and that's PSVR 2, and I believe Quest 2.
I believe I want to say Steam as well, but I have to double check that one. Our notes are lacking.
You know what? But that is an interesting point, though. I have noticed another trend that is starting to come out with some release dates. There is a game that we can't talk about yet. May 9th, we'll be able to talk about it. It's another. Let's just call it another PSVR remaster. It is coming out in June, and noticed that it's not just a PSVR 2 game. It's getting a big giant kind of remaster super pack, and they're updating a bunch of crap in it. And it was originally on Quest, PlayStation, and PC, and they're just avoiding PC. It is Quest and PSVR 2.
It is PC, but Fisherman's Tale is across all three platforms.
But I did notice that this game, and I've seen a few other now that are starting to just not even like I mean, this we talked about this. I wondered if this would happen, and it's not good for guys who like say don't want to buy a PSVR 2, but like want premium VR and they have a PC. Like they're just like we are starting to see. It's too early to call it a trend. But we are seeing some games now just go Quest PSVR 2. Like it's like that's just where the money is. I think it's too soon to say that's where the PSVR 2 is a money cow, but I think that that's the hope. It's accessible VR. and it's not good for PC. I don't know what that's gonna. I mean, that's a different episode.
We're
I don't want to get
literally,
into
you're
it.
literally talking about Firmament right now, which is a PC only release right now. With PSVR 2 down the road.
That's true. That's true. I mean, you're right. That's the other. That's the other side of the coin. I'm just saying. I am seeing.
Vertigo 2 we just got. I mean, I know it's still like few and far between.
It's good. I mean, I'm not. I'm very pro premium.
And another
VR.
thing. And another thing.
But
yeah,
anyway.
Firmament, man. I mean, this is from the guys that gave us Abduction. This is like the Mist team. It's the guys that originally made Mist have since they formed this studio, which I can't remember the name of the studio right now, which is ridiculous. Anyways, Abduction would be the last one we got from these guys, was like 6 years ago. The PlayStation VR version of Abduction was awful. We talked about this before. It was absolutely brutal. The PC version wasn't much better. I'm really hoping
But it was better.
It was better. Oh yeah, it was better.
Especially if you had the rig, you could force it to look.
No,
okay.
the power of the PS4 was definitely holding that game back. But on top of the fact that there were some very, very poor VR decisions made by the developers that just hurt that game. Or hurt a game. I said this before. Given the choice between a VR version and a non-VR version, I would play the VR version 99% of the time just because I'm in VR. And that is one of the few games where I played that in VR for like a bunch of hours before I was like, you know what? I'm just playing this flat. Because it's a gorgeous game flat. It's just on PlayStation VR, it was awful. It was the messiest, muddiest, grossest looking. It was just so pixelated. It was disgusting. I hate to say it like that harsh, but it shouldn't have been released on that headset. It was bad. Suffice to say, that's not what we're talking about. This is PSVR 2 or at least PC VR. And these guys make amazingly complex and Cyan Interactive. Thank you, me.
And good looking games.
Like super sexy. Like I said, like the flag Abduction flat looked absolutely gorgeous, and this looks very much on par with what you expect from these games. It looks very it's like the puzzles here won't be easy. I almost guarantee it. That's why I stopped playing Abduction. Actually, the puzzles were getting so like convoluted where it was almost like it's just stopped being fun because I just was lost because you had to like wander across the whole map to find a solution to this one thing, to get this gear to go find over here, and that turns these pipes to go blah, 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 and I just like lost it. Not to crap on the game, because these guys are like, this is what they do. They only make puzzle games. So if you are a puzzle junkie, then definitely keep your eyes on Firmament, because it's from guys that are tailing to puzzle junkies. It's hardcore puzzle.
Another Fisherman's Tale would be kind of accessible puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like more of a for the experience of playing the game and lots of pat on the backs. Look how smart you are. Whereas like Firmament's like, you're an idiot. You suck. You're never gonna get this. Like it's It's the type of shit that walkthroughs were made for.
Oh yeah. And luckily, I believe this game is also flat as well. Firmament. So for those, so for those of you who do pick this up for VR, at least there'll be game guides for it. So you won't be totally out to lunch like with so many other VR puzzles where you go to find a solution and no one's made a video.
On another note, while we're talking about PC VR, I will just throw out there that made the news that F123 has been announced and it's getting VR again. No PSVR 2 announcement yet. PC only so far. And I think that unless Codemasters is willing to put in the effort, like a real effort to get that to run on PSVR 2, because I think
that's just a straight up numbers thing. Well, no, because they're doing PC. That doesn't make sense to me.
No, because what I'm getting at is I think it would. I love GT7. It's my go-to PSVR 2 game, but a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of optimization went into make that game run. And the F1 games are fast frame rate games, are good-looking games that are not like on like F122. It had performance issues, but it was not dumbed down that much graphically. And like I said, I had performance issues on a 3080 on my side. So I'm just saying, I'm hoping for a PSVR 2 version. I could see if they do that, it could be a later thing. It's gonna need some time. It's gonna need some time, I think, for them to properly optimize that. We know GT7 used foveated rendering to get what the frame rates and the graphics that you're seeing. The other thing is that Codemasters might look at GT7 and like, well, That's the bar.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? I just wanted to mention that it did get announced for PC VR. So yay, Master Race. I mean, racing sims are definitely going to be a PC staple. I think that's one thing where VR and flight sims. That's one thing where PC VR is always going to reign supreme, and mods. Next game.
You go back one game, but
Yeah.
Humanity, our third puzzle game in a row here. I missed playing the demo. Unfortunately, the demo was only available for like 2 days, and I didn't realize that, so I missed the window. My understanding is this is actually going to be a PS Plus game as well, so if you have PS Plus, you'll get it free. This thing looks like lemmings on like insane amounts of steroids. I don't know what to expect from this thing. I'm sure there's a message here about how much people suck. I just, I haven't played it yet. I don't know how it's going to be. It looks interesting. I'm definitely intrigued. This is from Enhance, guys that gave us Tetris Effect, and help me out here, Ryan or Chris. Enhance, Tetris Effect, and Res Infinite.
Yeah.
I didn't need your help.
Yeah, you didn't need me. It doesn't interest me that much.
It just looks so bizarre. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like when I looked at it, I was like, okay. I'm like, first of all, this gives me anxiety just looking at it. Like, it does. It gives me like, I'm like, I don't feel good. I don't know. I kind of like Lemmings. I like those types of games. My wife will probably be all over it. She's a big the heck is it called now? Oh, it's a Nintendo franchise. Pikmin. Which has also got kind of a Lemmings thing going on with it. It just doesn't do anything for me. Yeah, I don't care. I just don't care. But a lot of people are pumped for it. And you know what? Maybe I should just put my foot in my mouth with this, because Tetris in VR is still one of those games where you go ha 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 ha, ha, and then you put it on, you're like, holy shit. I actually literally just ended up playing Tetris the other day in VR. And,
it's good, man. It's solid.
It's like, you just, for someone who doesn't do drugs, it makes me feel like I'm doing drugs. That game is just, it is a trip in VR.
You have not done enough drugs.
But it is like, it really is. It's a lot.
Oh yeah,
it's a lot in VR, and so I'd be curious.
And more so on the PS5. Like, so I did the side by side comparison. There is more. There's more particle effects happening on PSVR 2. Like it's just more like audio visual orgasm. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I don't really have anything more to say to that.
No, I haven't played it. I think you just summed it up. We don't know. This thing looks absolutely bizarre, and it's got it's curious. And my understanding is it's PS Plus, so everyone gets it for free. Who's paying for that? So.
Falk, I don't think Grid Legends will get a PC VR release. I think if it was going to, it would have gotten it. I mean, they obviously put a lot of I hate to say it, but it still looks like they probably put a lot of time into trying to get that game to run on the Quest, like with the full grids and everything. I mean, I don't think it should have gone to Quest. I think, but they did it, and I'm sure that still wasn't easy. I don't see it getting a PC release. I don't think the money's there for them. I don't think they care. Which is really unfortunate. But maybe I'm wrong. I would say it's more likely going to get a PSVR 2 release, if anything. But again, I'm talking out of my ass with that.
Speaking of talking to your ass, talk to me about that Gizmo game, where the heck it is. Gizmo Builder.
Gizmo Builder. You know what? I don't have a lot to say about this. Just looking at the trailer there, it looks like, for any of you guys who remember The Incredible Machine, I love that. Gadgeteer also comes to mind. Except this is kind of like it looks like a dumbed down version of Gadgeteer or The Incredible Machine. But
it's mixed reality.
Using the AR screen. One thing I don't know is, like, if you have I'm gonna guess if you have a Quest Pro, you get the full color. I'm sure you do.
Oh yeah, that's just the pass through. Yeah.
The fact that it's black and white pass through, and you can like place these gadgets and gizmos in your black and white world. It doesn't really excite me, because like it doesn't look like the pass through on the Quest sucks.
Yeah, it was never built for pass through. They just using it that way.
Like, I mean, even the PSVR 2, I remember going, "Wow, like this looks great!" Like it's much higher quality black and white cameras. So I don't know. I love The Incredible Machine, but the idea of playing, I'd actually rather they just had me like in a room, some VR room,
right?
Instead of, like, I don't care. The AR thing is lost to me when it's like this crappy black and white version, but I'm still kind of interested in it because I do kind of love those whole what's the term I'm looking for? The puzzles.
The
You know,
Rube Goldberg. There you go.
Rube Goldberg. Thank you.
All right, so he's looking forward to it. I could
Our
absolutely
brains
care less.
combined.
Let's we gotta move through some of these a little bit quicker. We're moving pretty slow here. Next up here is Dead Hook, which this is definitely more your jam than mine. But talk about Dead Hook, Chris.
I don't actually know a ton about Dead Hook.
This is from Joyway, so this is yet another one of their man. Like we said before, but that studio must be insane to work at that studio. Like, hey man, working on a new game today. All right, sure, let's half finish it. Then, hey man, new game tomorrow. Because these guys have like 6 games now that are like none of them are actually finished. And their last game, I should have to look this up. I played not their last, because they have at least 2 more games since the last one. They're insane. They're absolutely insane. Joyway VR games. The game I'm thinking of they released, I did not like it at all, actually. I'm sure they abandoned it, actually, because I don't think anyone cared for it. Stride, Time Hack against...
Yeah.
Nope.
Against Time Hacker.
There's more. I'm not mixing this up here. Because Stride's their big one. We're still waiting for the campaign for that one. But they released this... it doesn't matter. It's pointless. Point being, the studio just pumps these things out. Not necessarily all bad. Like they know what they're doing over there. This one looks like a very action-oriented... It looks like a roguelike. And guns, and you're using your cable to swing through these things. It looks like high-intensity roguelike action, which there's definitely a market for. So like I said, it's not my jam in general, but it does look fun and like intense.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It looks okay. I like roguelites. I have a feeling I'm going to lose a lot of time with it. A lot of time. Obviously I loved Light Brigade. If you guys haven't, we're talking about back catalogs on the PSVR2. I think Light Brigade is a must buy, especially if you like shooters and roguelites. It's a great game. Gives me a lot of in-depth vibes. I just love that game. So I'm excited about this game. I really am. It looks cool. It looks polished, and it's just with a roguelite, you really just have to kind of like play it and see if the game loop works for you. So that's really all I have to say about it. Other than I thought it looks good. It looks questy, like it looks polished, but it looks questy. Like it looks like I just see a visual style that's very intentional. But I got a feeling that's going to be cool. I think what's going to be interesting is that this game, and I'm going to segue this right into another game, is that you've got Dead Hook coming out in the exact same month as Everslaught Invasion. And Everslaught Invasion, if you guys didn't get to play the early access, because it originally came out on PC in early access.
It's still available though, right? It's still available.
Yeah, it is, but they stopped development on it. Like it's not gonna get any more. They completely switched gears and basically finished.
They didn't say
game.
It wouldn't get more, but they said they had to stop. No. They had to stop to focus on this version to basically recoup their losses.
It's on the Steam store. They've said it's done.
Oh, there you go then.
They don't plan on returning to it. And
which is too bad because it was it was pretty looking. I played it at your place, and I mean, once again, it's
pretty
not my
looking,
jam.
But it was pretty looking, and it played slick, and it was. I don't know if I'd say it's so much it was a roguelite. It was more of a looter shooter, like a dungeon crawler kind of looter shooter with a lot of repetition built into it. I believe the quest version is going to be co-op, and it looks like way more developed. Like all the systems have been blown out, but essentially gameplay wise, I would say it feels like Doom 2019 or Doom Eternal if it was a melee game, or melee focused, because you do have a hand cannon pistol type thing, but a lot of it has you chaining up to ledges and like cleaving guys and slashing them, but it's got the movement system of Doom Eternal and the speed, and it just has a feel to it that was very Doom. But like you said, it was really pretty, and obviously some of that gleam is gone on the Quest version. And it's really disappointing that it's just been abandoned.
But it's 2-player co-op.
I know.
So that actually is kind of like the one reason why I would actually hop back into this version, because I've already played the PC version. I don't like playing dumbed down versions of PC games. But the fact this is co-op, which the PC version never got, I don't think, That's exciting. I could jump on and like kill some fools with Chris. Like I'm down with that.
Oh yeah, and you know what? Like I'm excited about it. I am. I think it looks cool. I really liked the gameplay. Like when I played the PC version, I was like, okay, this is awesome. Like this feels great. There was no gameplay depth to it. Like you could tell that it was kind of like, okay, so there's like one real level here, and I can see where they would probably add an upgrade tree and this and that. But the graphics have definitely been. You know what I mean? One of the things that I would say that like when I say a game looks questy, I don't. I mean, it's not a nice compliment, but I don't necessarily mean it to be super negative. More
No,
just
it
it's more
looks like
factual. It's more factual. Where I'm getting with this is that the dead giveaway for me, let's say you have a game that's on Quest and PC, and it's a good Quest port, like it is a solid Quest port. It looks really clean. They've managed to retain the game. The thing that usually gets axed is all the lighting effects.
right.
Anything that gives it that like much more dynamic lived-in polish, and this game looks just like that. It looks like a really good Quest game. It looks like they spent a lot of time getting it to port properly to the Quest, but it's just lost all that shine.
Mm-hmm. No, I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying.
Now it's one of those games where it's like, but if the gameplay is there, the graphics are good enough.
Right.
It just sucks. It just feels like it just sucks when you like when I was a kid growing up, the first car I bought was a Mustang, and I bought a Mustang GT with a V8, and my best friend bought a Mustang with a V6. And he was never happy with his car because he always knew there was a better version there that he should have been driving. That's how I feel about it.
That's funny.
But
Yeah,
anyway.
Everslaught we're excited for.
But my point, I guess, just to reiterate it, was that Dead Hook and Everslaught are coming out on the exact same day.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see where the reviews
unless
lie,
Everslaught moves, because they're
it's not. It's not official. Yeah, that's right. It's even the quest store says expected this day. So
I think they. I'm gonna say expect that to bounce to June. I think, but right now that's what we're getting. That's what it is. Next up would be
X8.
No, what is that?
This is the hero shooter.
It's a hero shooter
Coming to PSVR 2 at some point in time. This is the early access release for this game on Steam. It's from Third Verse, and I know Third Verse has made something else. I can't think of what they made though. Third Verse developer, but it's basically a hero shooter. For those that have played Larcenauts on PC or Quest, it's along the same lines. Larcenauts was kind of met with a meh reaction. Will this be better? Is kind of really the only question that like will it be better? Oh, these guys did right. Alter Breaker and the Swords of Gargantua. So all the PSVR dudes hate this developer. They absolutely do not like this developer because of the Swords of Gargantua cancellation. But less than a year after it launched in PSVR 2 or PSVR rather, they just stopped support altogether and only kept it on Quest. So I have no idea how Alter Breaker is doing on PSVR 2, but I know the PSVR community is not happy with these guys. But X8 could be good. I can't say yet. I haven't played it. Hopefully it's kind of, we're talking Overwatch in VR is basically what we're talking about. If it can come close to that, great. Doesn't look amazing, but we'll see.
It looks more like another hero shooter that the name's escaping me. It's another flat game. Than necessarily Overwatch does. Overwatch to me was very much Larcenauts, and I would say that from I haven't played X8 either, and obviously it says it's early access, so we shouldn't expect it to necessarily hit the ground running, but I would say that Larcenauts looked a lot better at launch, and it had a hard time. I just actually, funny enough, saw that they've announced that they're going to be Larcenauts is dropping support for Quest 1. So I don't know what that means for the future of Larcenauts, because if they were just abandoning the game,
I doubt it. I mean, people are dropping support for Quest 1 all over the place.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that I always kind of hope that Larcenauts might get a PSVR 2 release, because this is from the guys who did Farpoint.
Right.
And I feel like Larcenauts has come a long way, and if they continued to add more content, Larcenauts was good. Larcenauts had the secret sauce a little bit that Overwatch had. It needed to increase its speed. It needed more content, but it was starting to get there. So if that game can get a second lease on life, I'm all for it. And the fact that they're canceling the Quest 1 makes me wonder if it's because they're going to be, bringing in newer levels, better graphics, and PSVR 2. It would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
It would definitely make sense for them to try to like give this game a second lease on life and an install base that would be all over it. So, X8, too soon to tell. It looks a little early access at this point. It really does.
Speaking of early access, another one coming out, Paranormal Hunter. This is May 22nd. This is right along the same lines as now I'm drawing a blank on that stupid ghost one that everyone was in love with like 2 years ago.
Oh yeah. Phasmophobia.
Yeah, this is clearly the clones, the clones of that style of game. It doesn't look bad though. It looks like they put the work in. Early access, May 22nd. If you're into those 4-player, try to scare your friends and have fun doing it kind of thing. This looks quality. We'll find out, I guess, in a few weeks.
Yeah, these games are there's been a few that have come out on PC that have definitely tried to kind of ape that kind of formula. Hey, come out in early access now. Get your shit together. Be ready for Halloween. So
I believe this is supposed to be coming to PSVR. I want to say this is one of those games that was possibly announced.
To be honest, I don't know enough.
Foggy on that one too. I don't want to commit to that statement, but it does ring a bell. But man, I mean, we'll see.
Next up is Quest 2, May 25th. That's Cards and Tankards.
I'm so glad we're a team now because I have no intention of playing this game. I hate card battlers like no one's business.
And I don't actually normally like them in real life. But Demio,
not a card battler.
I know. No, but Demio has really kind of intrigued me more into this idea of chill sitting at a table playing with friends. I don't know. Let's just say all I'm going to say is that normally I would have been like, screw this game, zero interest. But Demio has made me willing to take a chance on this. Although I'm looking at this trailer here.
Yeah.
I kind of want to take back those words.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see this doing great, though. I know that there's, especially for people who are more social in VR than you and
I'm pretty sure this is already available on App Lab.
I think it is. It's been out for a bit, I think.
So, I mean, oops.
Yeah, I know. So, I don't know if any of you guys give a shit in chat. Let us know if you do. But I don't know if we're going to cover it or not, but we might.
Yeah. That's not you.
Well, it's free on
and I'm out.
It's on Steam. It's free in early access. I don't think it's VR though.
We're moving on, Chris. We have better things to cover.
It looks like it might be VR though.
Anyway. The next one, this is from Carbon Studio. This is called Crimen Mercenary Tales. This looks very much in the same vein as like the Wizards, their first few games, only it's the pirate edition. And the Wizards is in some ways a quality game, in other ways it's aged quite horribly, I guess, in regard to expectation. Like when it came out, Wizards was kind of a not next level, but it was doing things that no other game had done. The problem is, I think, what it was doing wasn't great. It just there wasn't a lot out there to compare it to. And since then, I think the Wizards, the first game is definitely aged out. The second one, Dark Times, is a much better game by current VR standards. This looks to be a pirate sim. So if the combat works and it's funny, it could be good. Otherwise, it might just be a boring hack and slash. Who knows? We'll see, I guess.
I agree. I was going to say, it looks like it's running on the same engine, but they've stylized it. They didn't just do the two Wizards games. They did that Warhammer game too, where they totally used their same engine.
Right.
Remember?
Oh my God. Age of Sigmar or whatever. That game was that game was so dull and boring, and it got a Quest version. And the only good thing about that game was the visuals. Not the only good thing. It was not broken. It was just incredibly boring. but it was pretty as all heck. And when they released the Quest version, I was like, well, now you've lost the plot. That's the only reason to pick this thing up.
I know. I remember you saying that. I didn't actually play that. I wasn't doing a lot of channel stuff at that point.
Age of Sigmar Tempestfall or something ridiculous. It was a very long name. I remember that.
Yeah, this game obviously doesn't have the benefit of the license of Warhammer.
It looks questy.
It kind of does, but it has a very stylized look, like it's trying to look like it's
like that Tarzan game. Yeah.
Yes, it looks like it's ripped out of a graphic novel kind of thing. But the big thing with this game is going to be, I think, like, is it fun? Is it just like you said? Is it fun? Because like that Warhammer game, all I heard from you and other people was like it's just dull. And like you said, is this going to be? It looks like it has a sense of humor. Like even the promotionals that we've had in our email seem like they're, but I'm just hoping they're not trying to force it. Like, this is funny. We promise it's really funny. And this is not a game I would pre-order. I mean, I feel like, I mean, obviously we're going to review this, and I feel like it's one of those games where it's like, I need to wait for the review.
Right?
I need to know, because this could go either way. It looks like it could be kind of fun, but it could also look like it could just be
a wash. I totally agree with you. It's going to either be like really fun or boring and just monotonous
or like Tarzan. I mean, although they put up better quality than the dev that did Tarzan, but Tarzan was just like paint by numbers, but just kind of janky.
Apparently they fixed it. I got the big email a few months ago now that basically said they'd gone back in and like overhauled everything to make it better. I never played to begin with, so I couldn't say, but the fact they sent email was like, hey guys, we fixed it. I mean, who knows? But
it's like Domino Pizza coming out and going, "Hey, our pizza doesn't suck anymore. We knew it sucked. We changed everything." So we'll see. I don't know. Tarzan was just one of those games where I was like, the whole time I was playing, I was like, his art style is just like not really flooring me, and like nothing in this game is all that great. It's trying to be style over substance, and it's not working. And that is my concern with that game. I look at it, and it looks like it could be a style over everything. Substance, gameplay, humor. So we'll see. Like I said, I did like the Wizards games though. Although I totally agree with you that the second one, even though it felt like DLC because originally it was going to be to the first game, definitely is a much better playing game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
The smaller package. Next one for PSVR 2
and
Quest is,
and probably Steam as well at this point. And
Hello Neighbor Search and Rescue. So it's a flat game too, right?
This is not a flat game. This is the VR version
the VR version of
that franchise. Yes.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that.
Neighbor Search.
You know more about Hello Neighbor than I do.
I know very little, other than the fact that this is a pretty popular franchise. There's like 6 or 7 games. Like it's ridiculous how many games there are. And it's basically a cartoonish stealth game. You're trying to like, I don't know. I don't know the story other than the fact you're sneaking around this old guy's house and you basically have to like, lure him away and try to catch the stuff without him catching you. It's a pretty lauded franchise. It gets a lot of love. And it's gonna be in VR. And to me, like I said, stealth in VR. This is a Steam game as well. Stealth in VR just works really well as long as they don't mess anything up. I always go back to that game. It's always on sale on PlayStation. It's like a $3 game now. Basically, you're just a kid trying to survive for these 3 like murderers in the house. Super like Home Alone, sneak around. Oh, it's super fun. Anyways, stealth in VR I love. So as long as they nail the stealth in this game, I guarantee I'll have a blast. That's basically it.
Yeah, I actually think this is when I say this, I mean the first thing I thought of was hide and seek.
Hide and seek.
Yeah. Oh, is that the game you're thinking of?
Yeah, I know. I couldn't think of that.
It was like hide and seek something.
Yeah.
Anyway, which was kind of like a Home Alone type riff a little bit on a stealth VR game. I'm just reading here, so it sounds like it's also kind of a mystery game with different ways and approaches to sneak into the houses and stuff. So I could see this being way more your jam. I think it looks pretty, like it's very cartoony-ish, but it looks like it's going to be kind of a mystery puzzle stealth game. And I think you're going to love this a lot more than I do. I'm
not going to lie. When I found it was a Quest release, when I found it was coming to Quest as well, I was disappointed because now it automatically like reduced my expectations for like, I wasn't expecting next gen, like blowing me out of the water visuals, just what I've seen. But seeing it coming to Quest 2 was like, oh,
when you look at the flat game, I expect the PSVR 2 version to probably reproduce that pretty spot on, and the Quest version I think will just be a downgrade on that. So, I mean, my expectations were that the PSVR 2 is just going to be able to replicate that kind of cartoon looking style properly. So, I don't know. It looks cool. It's it's been a PSVR 2 game that's been on our list for a while now. Like since launch, it's been one of those games. I hope that it delivers because we could use some new stuff on PSVR 2, even though it's starting to come now. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not pumped about it, but it looks cool. It looks cool. Horror Bar VR is next on May 25th for Quest. I don't have any interest in that. That was on PC already, right?
It's Quest, and I believe it's on PSVR 1 as well. I could be wrong with that one.
Yeah.
But so Quest for sure, PC for sure. It's a bar simulation only. Yeah. You're feeding zombies with crazy wacky drinks that have like eyeballs and fingers and brains. Yeah, so and it's like hilarious, and it's going to be so funny.
It's like Job Simulator.
Yeah. Like I said, the second you put me in a kitchen in VR, I'm pretty much done. So sorry, game. I hate to.
It's another like one of those like cook to order simulators, but it's got a sense of humor. It's got a decent review on Steam.
I'm sure it's fine. And I can't remember the guys who made this also made that bartender simulator, if I remember correctly, which was not good. But I'm sure this is fine. It's just not. I'm just over these games.
You just gotta want to, if this is the type of game you're looking for in VR, like that type of stand in place VR. I mean, they're fun games to throw people into, I guess. But I just don't. This isn't what I play VR for anymore.
Moving on. I'll take the lead here because I want to mix up the order of these things. So next up, quickly, is a weird one actually. It's Yupitergrad 2. We talked about this before. I played this already a little bit. If you played the first Yupitergrad, it's more of that plus gunplay now as well. The weird thing about this one is it's coming out on Pico first before Quest or any other headsets. Which is I'm not sure if Pico threw these guys money or whatever. It's weird, right? Either way, I mean, for all of you Pico guys out there, if you're out there, this is coming soon. I have a soft spot in my heart for this game. I thought this was a really fun environmental puzzler, I guess is the best way to describe it. So the fact they've added guns, honestly leads me into one of our next games as well. But I'm going to do one more game here first. But Yupitergrad 2. I mean, I know you like the first one too, Chris.
I didn't mind it. It was fun. I lost interest in it. Let's say about halfway through because it was kind of that whole kind of Spider-Man-y, but I would say it reminded me more of Windlands style of grapple and swing mechanics. Although you could retract them, which was it was more of a puzzle swinging game. You had to figure out how to get through areas. I lost interest in that after a while. The levels could only do so much for it. So the idea that they're adding in more mechanics, I heard that I think they're turning into more of a bit of a roguelite, and that's awesome for me. Like I'm like, sweet, I'm down. Like I'm ready to just adding more to that gameplay style to me sounds like a good time. Yeah, I mean, I just like those games. So,
okay, hold on. Next here, then.
For it, though, and I'm not buying a Pico for it.
No, so I'm gonna quickly cover this one because it dropped and then didn't drop, so there's no guarantee it's a May release. But basically, the Transformers Beyond Reality game popped up in the PSVR 2 store briefly, which usually implies they're just making sure their page works before the game comes up. So this could be coming anytime. I played this. It's a totally stock on the rails wave shooter with the Transformers license. It doesn't do anything too impressive. It's not a bad game. It could have been swapped with the G.I. Joe license or the Ninja Turtles license, and it would have been the exact same game. Unless they do something different to it, it's just mediocre across the board. But it's
IP cash grab.
Yeah, but it's coming soon to PSVR 2 based solely upon that page. So.
Yay, because that's what we need on our PSVR 2.
And that leads me into the thing I was leading up to, is we're going to do Red Matter 2, and then we'll finish on one more game here, I think. But Red Matter 2 is coming soon to PSVR 2, according to rumors.
No, it's not just rumors. They were the ones that said
rumors.
It. And no, it's not. What's the name of the studio who makes this again?
Vertical Robot. You're gonna check me on that one? I
No,
love this game.
No, I know you're right. I'm just saying that I just want to see if there was any recent updates. All they're saying is it says on there. This is on their Twitter. Coming to PSVR 2 very soon. So I don't know what the difference between soon and very soon is, but when I hear very soon, I think May.
Yeah, so without confirmation, this is coming sooner than later. If you played the first Red Matter, the second one is that game and more. Plus, it adds weapons as well. I absolutely loved Red Matter 2. I played on the Quest without even knowing there was a PC release, and it's probably, if I say it's the best looking Quest game, even if I'm wrong, I have an argument. Like it is absolutely gorgeous in the headset. It's in my mind, it's the prettiest. It looked on par with PC. I know Chris will say, well, actually, blah, 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 but he's wrong.
I haven't played it on.
I know you haven't, but you just like to pipe up anyways. But it's gorgeous. Some of the, even the stuff they do with scale, like Fisherman's Tale. The first game, it had like those levels of scale, but eventually it got to like that back JPEG image where you could just tell it was just like a flat image. Some of the stuff they did in Red Matter 2 on the Quest, you could like look, you could see for like a mile, and if you moved your head, you could see the environment, like you could see that depth there. I don't know how they pulled it off. It's mind blowing. So,
these guys know how to make. I don't know, like whatever team they've got together, they know how to make their Red Matter games look amazing in VR, like beyond other like. And sometimes
it's insane. The reflections, it's insane.
Like on the PSVR 1, if with the PS4 Pro, that game was one of the best looking PSVR games, and then they did it again on the Quest. And now with the PSVR 2 version, they're saying right on their site here, 120 FPS, no reprojection. That's native. Foveated rendering for unparalleled clarity, 4K remastered textures, and enhanced lighting, shadows, and bloom. Like this game is gonna look gorgeous. Like I think if you thought the Quest version was good looking, like I know that people had said that the PC version looked good, but it didn't feel like it was the big step up from the Quest version. And that was partly because the Quest version probably looked so good. But this feels like this is the premium version of Red Matter. Like they're pulling out all the stops for the PSVR 2 version. I cannot wait to see it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out. I mean, it's
not a huge puzzle guy, but this is the month of puzzle games.
Apparently, right? It's puzzle month. And then go.
I was just gonna say, and then speaking of gorgeous looking games,
this is where we're gonna end the month on here. With confirmed games that we know anyways, and that's gonna be Hubris. We reviewed this on the channel when it released last November. It was right around there. And if you found our review, or my review, I guess, I'm not going to put words in Chris's mouth. I was definitely let down by the game. A lot of just pacing and grinding and poor AI and just a whole bunch of issues got in the way of what is an absolutely stunning, gorgeous game. And, I'm not going to sit here and bash the game because I've been following the game's updates, and a bulk of my issues, like a huge amount of them, the devs have addressed or fixed or added, changed and tweaked. So this version should be hopefully better than what I played 6 months ago. And I want this game to succeed. It has aspects of Halo in there. Like there's games I want to compare it to that I'm leery to, because I don't want to say like, oh, it's like Halo, and then you have like this bar in your head like it's Halo. It's not like that, but it's got
like
these
some VR tubers.
Yeah, right. I believe you can actually find somebody who says like Halo in VR. I guarantee you someone labeled it as. And I understand why. It does have whiffs of Halo, but it was just marred by so many poor decisions that, once again, I can say the developers have said they addressed. I haven't played the fixed version yet, or at least the most updated version. I've been waiting for the PSVR 2 release because they've also said they're using all the haptics. They said they're maximizing the haptics, and there was a rumor early on. I believe Brian there, Without Parole, had stated in talking to the developers they were leery about using the Sense haptics because they felt it would be unfair to PC users who didn't have that option. It was like, yeah, well, that's the choice. That this is you got to embrace new tech. You can't go backwards because that's just because some guys don't have that technology. So, anyways,
those are the developers when they say shit like that. It's like, yeah, you were kids that grew up with participation trophies, didn't you? Where everyone was a winner. It's okay for there to be losers. And
Anyways, it's fully utilizing the haptics. They said the PSVR 2 version is better than a high-end PC version than the high-end PC. They said with the foveated rendering and eye tracking, they said what they can do on the PSVR 2 basically just it beats what they can do on PC. Just because of optimization. So it sounds everything's
amazing,
right?
but we'll see how the reprojection looks, because this is going to sound silly probably to people, considering that like I'm supposed to be like a VR guy. I finally played Call of the Mountain. I hadn't played Call of the Mountain. I just kept sitting on it because I kept getting into other things, and you had covered it.
Mm-hmm.
Call of the Mountain on the PSVR 2, if you're smooth turning, I think is unplayable.
Unplayable, he says.
It is so freaking blurry. I know people said that, and I was like, and I was like, what are you talking about? No, it is brutal. I heard some people saying it got worse after a patch too. It is brutal. Like I played it upstairs in my living room, and I'm like, until I bring my PlayStation downstairs, into my little YouTube studio, and I can like spin in a chair instead of having to use the thumbsticks, I can't play this game. Like, it's just this blur fest, like motion blur cranked to 1. It's brutal. It is the worst game on the PSVR 2, just about, I would say, for an example of reprojection. And it's gorgeous until you try to turn smooth turning. I could see why people are like, oh, I just use click turning. And now I understand why they going back to the whole controversy with what's his face? Oh my god, what's his face?
Bradley.
Yeah, Brad. Where they were like, no, yeah, you can't use smooth turning because optimization, and took it off your face. No, the game is horrible.
Horrible.
It's so bad. I was like, oh my god, it's so bad that like I have a bunch of friends coming over on the weekend, and I'm like gonna VR rape them, and I can't put them in that game. I can't. Like, I thought that like Resident Evil, I could notice the reprojection.
But what about the tour? Put him in the tour.
The tour.
Oh, you haven't played for enough. Once you play a little bit, you actually unlock like a little like 6 or 7 minute like boat tour, and like literally it's like the opening, but it's like all that you see everything all at once, like all the mechs, we have the robots like are all over the place. It's a very very showy little piece of VR. Definitely worth throwing people in there if you've unlocked it. But if you haven't unlocked it yet, then you haven't gotten very far.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean, I'm a massive PSVR 2 fan. Obviously, I was really surprised by that, and yeah. I mean, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what the next couple of years look like, to see how much better they get at using the reprojection, and probably little tricks to, I'm just be curious to know what the difference is between what Call the Mountain, like what Fire Sprite's doing there, and then what Capcom did with RE8, because they're both using reprojection, they're both using foveated rendering.
It just seems like they should just get rid of it, honestly, and then just like shoot for 90. Like, it really, you said that before, but it just seems like, like this reprojection thing just seems to be hurting more than helping. No one's like, oh yeah, the reprojection's amazing in this. No one's ever said that, because you can see it every time it's used.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it seems like they're shooting for 120 when it's not necessary. And obviously in VR, the frame rate matters a lot more than it does on flat.
And maybe that's the thing. Maybe RE8's not hitting 120. Maybe Call of the Mountain was stretching the reprojection, like getting they had 60 and they pushed it to 120, whereas like maybe RE8 was able to get, a higher native and only bumped it up to 90 or something like that. That actually would make sense, just based on I've played RE8 twice now, and it's not, it's not as smooth, even just moving forward, as say something like some of the other games. And so it actually makes me wonder if that's it. I don't know. It's just, it'll be interesting to see how they kind of balance that as they get along here with it here. So, but anyways, I mean, I can see people in the comments going off again about like, well, like it doesn't look as good as my 4090. I mean, I have a good GPU as well. We're just into a situation right now where it's going to be all about the games. If PC doesn't get the games, it just doesn't matter what your GPU is, and that's why you hear me complaining sometimes when I'm not seeing certain games come over to PC because, of course, I would love everybody to be able to play these games. So, anyways, Hubris is one of those games I never played it. I still have not played that game because like you said, I saw that they kept doing updates, and I was like, ooh, I'm just gonna wait then, because I know, like, I mean, watching your review, my takeaway from this was it's a game where they had like beautiful visuals, especially the opening areas, and then they kind of like tried to build a game around it. And it seemed like, I know that like some of the complaints that you had that I was like, oh, it was like, okay, so the enemies, you're not, they're not deadly enough.
Dumb
They're
as
dumb.
posts. They are
They're,
dumb
you know,
as
they're,
posts.
but not just dumb, but you could make up with it for just like making them deadly or coming in numbers. But it just like wasn't hard enough. They weren't smart enough.
No.
And then there was like, and then they had like weird things, like you had to collect all of a thing to be able to get through an area. And then the crafting, and I love a good craft grind, but it was like the crafting was grindy, and you didn't even need to do all that work because you didn't need to be, there was no need of like, I gotta be stronger because I'm getting my ass kicked in combat.
Yeah.
Like, the game mechanics just weren't coming together. And it sounds like they fixed that. Like, it
Yep.
sounds like they put up like more enemy variety, more difficulty, smarter AI.
They've added new enemies too. Like they've oh, sorry.
They tweaked the crafting. I know that they adjusted some of the like kind of like barriers to move forward based on collecting things. Like, they've addressed a lot of the things that you have added. The one thing I haven't heard is that they still haven't added music.
No, music is still in the pipeline. They've already said it won't be there for this release unless they surprise. Yeah, so the no music things, it was weird because I mean, I don't mind atmosphere. I just played propagation, which relied pretty heavily upon not playing music except in key moments. And when you notice that environment, you're like, damn, this is unnerving. But you notice there's no music ever in Hubris, you're kind of like, this feels like you get in this big boss fight or big fight, and like usually the music kicks in, and you get all amped up. You're like, yeah, let's do this. And Hubris, you're like, not a lot happening right now. You're kind of just making your own little music with your gun because you have nothing else to do. Pew 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 pew. Like it's.
I'll just make up my own soundtrack. Just
I'm sure this is just obviously the developer. I mean, the fact that there's no soundtrack to this game tells me that they thought this game would, like, you know what, man, this is gonna survive totally on ambience in the environment, right? It's just, yeah, it's all presentation.
Does it have at least good ambient world sounds?
That I can recall, no, but could be just my fading memory.
Because bringing things full circle now, Survival.
I don't think so. Like, I mean, most of the maps didn't have a lot of life in them. I mean, I remember the water sounding really cool now that we're talking about it, because it was just all of a sudden
they seem like they spent all their money on that level area. I remember before we started seeing the full game and before you reviewed it and everything, I remember just going like, but like, what's after the water level? Because all I see is water level.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you playing the demo. You're like, holy shit, dude, it's sexy.
I was so pumped. I was so pumped after that demo. I was just like this game cannot fail. This is amazing. And then it was a letdown. But like I said, it was a letdown when I played it 6 months ago. As I keep saying, they have fixed a bunch of. I don't want to sit there and like trash this game. I'm just hoping that from what I've been reading, the fixes are they actually happen, and this game is better and improved than what I played 6 months ago. And the fact that it has the benefit of the PSVR 2 tech should make it freaking awesome, I hope.
I'm really pumped. It's like, I'm always say that I'm jealous of people who, like, got to play RE8 for the first time in VR and just experiences like that. I'm glad I waited, like, because now I get to play it for the first time patched, and I hope it delivers. And hopefully it delivers on the PSVR 2. It'll be fun to have all the additional haptics. I do find that I've gotten so used to the PSVR 2 haptics that when I jump onto PC and Quest games, they feel a little lifeless. Not obviously, not all games are great on the PSVR 2 haptics wise, but a lot of them are. Like Pavlov, for example, is just so dynamic because of the haptics and the weighted triggers and everything. It's just so sexy. It's definitely, it's set a bar. Playing all these Quest games, I've kind of been like, oh man. Ugh. But I wanted to bring it full circle, though. We're talking about Hubris and Survival Nation, and that was one thing, is that no music could be a good thing, because Survival Nation has a weird this contrast of like sometimes it just goes like long periods of time with no music, but there's also no ambient sound. So all you hear is like, I don't know if that even translates over, but it's just your footsteps clunk, 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 and it's just like, and then, and then like you can hear the soundbite end of the zombie growl. He's like, and it's just like, oh my god, they need some sound layering here. And then, but then there is music, and it's like you walk into the village, and it's like cue generic banjo country song as you like walk into town, and then you leave the town, and then when you do get music, it's like generic action music. But like what's really jarring about it is there were quite a few times in the games where I'd like taken on the horde, the action music kicked in, and then it cut out. Okay, great. But there were a lot of times where I was playing where the action music kicked in and didn't get the note that like the zombies were gone, and it just kept and I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get like PTSD now because like there's no zombies around, but the music's telling me I need to be like on my guard.
You know what's funny is Propagation had actually a similar issue at parts in the game where all of a sudden when the music kicked in, you're like, oh shit, something's around, and then you look in it and nothing would ever show up. You're like, all right, I guess I'm just getting amped up for no reason here. And then every now and then you would find what was triggering it. But yeah, same thing. It's kind of funny to talk about that.
But what's funny is that like there were times when I'm picking flowers and I'm just like bloop bloop bloop, but it's like I'm like glug 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 glug. And it got to the point where I was like, I gotta turn this music off, and then I like got my wish, and the music just never came back. So
that's funny.
Music makes a difference. Guys, we're coming to the end here. We're past Ryan's bedtime.
May's a big month, man. And June, I forgot to mention quickly. There's a couple games coming for June. We'll actually be covering, but the meta game showcase is coming June 1st, I recall. So I should have early access to all that info shortly. I obviously can't leak it, but according to other leaks, apparently there'll be some pretty huge announcements during the meta headset thing, especially with I'm sure with the Quest 3 around the corner. You'd have to assume there'll be something along the lines for that. But anyways, yeah, June 1st. I'll be in town, so I think I'll be doing a live stream for that one, whether Chris is available or not, depending on what time it is on our channel. Maybe I'll try to swing a co-host or something like that. But yeah, so as much games we have coming in May, June should be a pretty big month for announcements. Anyways,
we've already got quite a few. There's some June titles being announced coming up.
Well, this isn't June titles. This is just.
No, I know, but I'm saying we got June titles already.
We're gonna save that for next month.
Some we can't talk about, but yeah, no. I was just saying, guys, thanks for sticking around for us. That did. Please consider hitting the like button if you wouldn't mind. And
use those codes wisely. I gave it a ton of codes this episode. A lot of PSVR 2 stuff, a lot of Quest stuff, and a couple little Steam things. And we'll probably do the same thing next week. Maybe a little more geared towards Quest and Steam side of things, just to kind of clean some stuff out. But if you want free games and have a Quest or can play on PC, free games. That should just be the next episode. Virtual Boys episode 80. Free games, and then a topic.
I mean, the other good news before we'll just wrap this up for. Because I feel like it's relevant to the conversations that we have been having over the course of the last few months, is that sounds like Sony is finally going to be putting PSVR 2s into stores.
They're already in there. They're already out in the wild, man.
Out in the wild now?
I've already seen reports from people who go to GameStop and they see them on shelves. So yeah,
in the States.
Yeah,
that's huge. So that's awesome. Yeah, guys, keep a eye on the channel for next week because, like Ryan said, we will be dropping some. Codes. I see a request there. Dead Hook is coming May 18th, so I'm gonna be excited for that one. I like a good roguelite.
It's all about puzzles for this month for this guy over here. It's all about puzzles. I'm gonna be.
You don't like puzzles? Yeah, it's gonna be. Well, I'll tell you what is gonna be happening. Ryan's gonna be working on puzzle games, and I'm going to be reviewing that new, the new magnetless gun stock for the virtual rifle systems for PSVR 2 because I think it's sexy as all fuck. And to me, that's going to be what I'll be using for Firewall and Pavlov and any future games. But I'll be doing an in-depth review of what I think of that. I'm going to put it through its paces on things like After the Fall, as well as what you call it? Oh my God, the Light Brigade, some other non-traditional shooter games. But then I've also got VR Cover. It was actually just went on sale today, I believe.
I saw it. I saw it on Instagram, so they're advertising.
VR Cover has put out their first comfort strap mod for the PSVR 2, and I have one coming in the mail, so I will be doing a review of that. So if you guys don't find your PSVR 2 comfortable, I think VR Cover is kind of like...
But we're not a PSVR 2 channel. Don't forget that.
No, it just seems to be what we got. What do you mean we say we're not a PSVR? We just talked Quest all day.
That's true, but yeah, it's just all our upcoming stuff is all PSVR 2. Anyways. I'm just making the joke because we made the joke earlier that we're like PSVR 2. It doesn't matter. You know what, Chris?
Anyways, love you guys. Ryan, I hate you. We will we'll see you guys next Thursday. Have fun playing VR.
Oh, I'm not ready to close this down. Whoops.
Peace.
There we go. Later,
I'll just keep saying goodbye.